Good evening. I'd like to call our first meeting tonight to order. And the first meeting will be the public meeting under the Planning Act for a zoning bylaw amendment. We have 5 meetings tonight, so we'll get down to business right away. Meeting to order, and note that all members of council are present. And I'll ask the clerk to make a list of staff and guests. Approval of the agenda. We have a resolution.
Moved by Councillor Reese, seconded by Councillor Chason, resolved that the agenda for the public meeting under the Planning Act scheduled for Tuesday, June 1st, 2021 be approved as presented.
All in favor? Enough hands moving, it's carried. Thank you. Any declaration of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof regarding this particular meeting? Seeing none, we'll move to announcements. Any announcements? Hearing none, we go to new business 5.1. I have a script that I need to follow. This is a public meeting under Section 34 of the Planning Act for zoning bylaw amendment. The purpose of the proposed temporary zoning amendment is to rezone lands described as mining claims MCSSM 3455, parcel 5136 AWS, and SSM 59662 PCL 1148 Mishpicotton in the geographic township of McMurray in the municipality of Wawa in the district of Algoma. The temporary zoning amendment, if passed, would permit temporary work camps and accessory uses to be constructed on the property for the purposes of providing temporary camp accommodations for employees and contractors performing exploration activities on the former gold mine Citadel property surrounding the camps for a period of up to 3 years. This period may be extended for a further 3-year period if approved by municipal council. It is noted that in order to appeal any decision of council to the Ontario Local Planning Appeal Tribunal, the appellant must have outlined comments or concerns at the public meeting or submitted comments and concerns to council in writing. Would the clerk please confirm that proper notice of the temporary zoning bylaw amendment has been issued and if any written comments received?
Notice of the public meeting was mailed to property owners within a 120-meter radius of the subject land and to all persons and public bodies as prescribed under Ontario Planning Act Regulation 545/06. Further, the notice was posted on the subject property on September 14, 2021, and the notice was clearly visible from the public roadway on Highway 101. There was one written submission that was received from Algoma Public Health. And if you may, Mr. Mayor, I'll read the letter into record.
Yes, please.
Algoma Public Health has no objections to amend the zoning bylaw 2821-15 for the application applying to mining claim MC SSM 3455, parcel 5136, AWS and SSM 59662, parcel 1148, Mishpicotton. Algoma Public Health does require the applicant to contact its office at, and it gave its phone number, to review their intentions for safe water, food, and sanitary facilities, if applicable. Sincerely, Mariah Tremblay, Public Health Inspector.
Thank you. I will now ask the applicant or the representative if they wish to speak to their application. If anyone from Red Pine wishes to speak, please state their name and title with Red Pine. I understand that Tanya Pullman may be speaking to us tonight.
Hi, yes, thank you. Tanya Pullman here. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen to our request this evening and over the last several weeks. Really, we would, I am the lands manager for Red Pine, and we're happy to answer any questions or concerns that you may have this evening regarding this request for a temporary camp to house the contractors and staff that would be coming into the work site and doing early exploration activities on the property.
Are there any questions from members of council?
Mayor, I have a couple of questions. It's Councillor Tate.
Kate?
A couple of questions. What is the sewer system going to consist of? Septic tank or bed?
So that all the sewage will be stored in tanks above ground and then removed off site for proper storage or proper disposal.
And water?
Water is a drilled well.
Okay, I see now. That's right. And what size is this camp for person-wise?
This will house up to about 14 people on average or at the max.
Okay, that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Tate. Any other councillors with questions? Seeing none, thank you, Ms. Bowman. I would like to welcome the Chief Administrative Officer, Ms. Maury O'Neill, to speak to her planning report and recommendation.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to those attending. I wrote to report to council as the planner for the municipality. I've recommended to council that they approve the following staff recommendations regarding this application. That council consider this evening to pass and approve a bylaw to amend the zoning bylaw 2821-15 to permit the requested use for a temporary period of up to 36 months or 3 years from the date of passing of the bylaw for Red Pine to use the property for residential dwelling units, mobile home work camps as an additional permitted use on the property, which is currently zoned rural. As well, the owner of the property has submitted and would be required to enter into a site plan agreement with the municipality. The staff is working with the company to develop a site plan agreement and bylaw, which will be forwarded to council on June 15th at the next council meeting, setting out the conditions of the use of the land for the 3-year temporary period. Some of the conditions of the site plan will include the following: that all buildings and structures that require an approved building will require approved building permit from the municipality of Wawa prior to construction and use. The owner will enter into an agreement with the municipality to dispose of all sanitary sewer and pay all required applicable tipping fees. The owner will enter into an agreement as well with the municipality to dispose of all construction debris and refuse at the Wawa landfill, and they will be responsible for paying any and all applicable municipal landfill dumping fees. The site plan will go into details about those agreements in more detail. The owner must agree that the bunkhouse facility authorized by this agreement is subject to municipal council approval, and upon expiry of the 3-year period, the owner may apply for a second one-time only extension to the 3 years for an additional 3 years. This is permitted under the Planning Act under the temporary zoning requirements. At the end of the agreement, the use shall cease and desist, and all buildings and facilities shall be removed from the subject lands. Furthermore, no subsequent use of the subject land shall be permitted without amendment to the zoning. Minor modifications to the future site plan agreement may be approved without amendment to the site plan agreement by the authorization of the Chief Administrative Officer, or major modifications as determined by the CAO will require a resolution of motion approved by municipal council. As Councillor Tate requested, I can also verify that our municipal engineer has verified with staff today that in terms of our municipal landfill, we can accept the quantity and volume of refuse that has been estimated by the agent that would be produced from this new use. We can accommodate in our landfill. And number two, that based on the quantities shared with us by the agent to this application, we can accept the sewer as well. So our agreement will set that out. And in terms of the Wawa zoning bylaw, this meets with the general intent of our zoning bylaw and regulations. It meets with the intent of the Ontario provincial policy statements with our official plan that has paragraphs related to ensuring mining and aggregates can be used in the municipality where possible. And the recommendation of staff tonight is to approve the application for the temporary use zoning bylaw to permit the work camp accommodations on site for a 3-year period, subject to the one-time extension. Council has other options. They could approve the application tonight and alter the length of time for the temporary zoning, for example, to a 1 or 2 year period, or deny the application. But staff does recommend tonight that council approve the application.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the CEO regarding her report? Do I see a hand up, Robert? No? We're good? Okay. So this will, resolution for this, or this bylaw will be coming up in our regular meeting later. I'll now ask, we have a resolution to close. Do we have a, go ahead.
Moved by Councillor Tate, resolved that this meeting close at 6:43 p.m.
All in favor? Okay. Oh, it's carried. Thank you. So we'll move directly into the Committee of Adjustment meeting agenda. Okay, I'll call this meeting to order at 6:44. Note council members still present, and we'll also note the staff and guests present. Approval of the agenda. We have a resolution.
Moved by Councillor Hatfield, seconded by Councillor Chiasson, resolved that the agenda for the Committee of Adjustment meeting scheduled for Tuesday, June 1st, 2021 be approved.
All in favor? I'm seeing one. Where's the other? I'm not seeing everybody.
There's Robert's underneath.
I see Pat.
Mitch is beside Robert.
There's Bill. Bill, you're in favor?
There's Robert.
Oh, Robert? Okay. Okay, very good. It's carried. Thank you. Any announcements? Declaration of pecuniary interests? None. We have a resolution to approve the Committee of Adjustment meeting minutes of Tuesday, May 18th.
Moved by Councillor Reese, seconded by Councillor Tate, resolved that the following minutes of the Municipality of Wawa Committee of Adjustment be adopted as presented. Minutes of the Committee of Adjustment meeting held on Tuesday, May 18, 2021, as contained on pages 1 to 3, inclusive of the minute book.
All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Nothing under old business. New business 7.1, approve the actions of the Secretary Treasurer. We have a resolution.
Moved by Councillor Chiasson, seconded by Councillor Hatfield, resolved that the Municipality of Wawa Committee of Adjustment does hereby approve the actions of the Secretary Treasurer with respect to the notification of the following applicant: A-4/21, Ms. Michelle Terrace, for a minor variance to zoning bylaw number 2821-15 as amended, respecting 63 Magpie Road, described as Plan M168, Lot 1589, Parcel 622, Mishpacotton, in the Municipality of Wawa, to reduce the interior side yard lot setback minimum from 1.2 meters to 0.6 meters, and the rear lot line from 1.2 meters to 0.6 meters, to permit the property owner to construct a garage on the subject property.
All in favor? Those were to approve the actions, right? That's carried. Thank you. Under the application for minor variance, do we want to read the resolution first and then have any? Yeah, okay, so go ahead with the resolution.
Actually, we should go over the report first. We'll let Kevin
Okay.
speak, and then we'll read the
So,
motion.
all right, Kevin, if you'd like to
Sorry.
review your report.
Good evening.
If council has any questions, Kevin, they will just go ahead after your report.
Okay, good
Right.
evening, Mayor and Council. I submitted a report to the Committee of Adjustment regarding a minor variance to property located at 63 Magpie Road. The applicant is requesting a reduction in setbacks from the interior side yard lot and rear lot lines. Upon review, the effects of the planning matter is consistent with the provincial policy statement. In terms of the official plan, the lands are existing and are on record and are developed for residential purpose. Residential uses are permitted and site alterations are also permitted. No changes are proposed to private services. The accessory building will not include water or sewer services. So the subject property is in residential third density under the zoning bylaw, which permits a dwelling and related accessory buildings. The applicant is seeking a decrease in the setback from the rear lot line and the side yard. The variance is going from 1.2 meters to 0.6 meters, which is from 4 feet to 2 feet. The variance is minor in nature. The proposed variance represents desirable and appropriate development of lands and are not anticipated to create any adverse impacts on adjacent properties. The application was circulated to external agencies for their review and comment. There was one letter of objection received from the public in terms of concerns regarding the closeness of the new structure to the neighbor's existing garage. Conclusion, the requested variance maintains the general intent and purpose for both the municipality of Wawa official plan and zoning bylaw. The proposal is desirable for appropriate development for use of land, and the requested variance is minor in nature. The application meets all 4 tests under the Planning Act, and the application is being recommended for approval. Upon review of the submitted concerns, the building department or chief building official will ensure that new building is constructed to current Ontario Building Code specifications, which will address the submitted concerns. It is recommended that the minor variance application be approved. There'll be some conditions along with the approval. The approval variance only applies to the proposed garage. The accessory storage building should not be used for human habitation, and the owner applicant should provide to the building department a copy of the decision from the Committee of Adjustment.
Thank you, Kevin. That was very thorough. Are there any questions from council for Kevin?
Mayor, it's Councillor Tate. I have some
Go ahead.
questions. I went by there yesterday and took a picture. Kevin, the existing garage on the other property, how close is it to the lot line?
By observation, it is within the official setback that was set out in the zoning bylaw, but the structure was constructed prior to that bylaw, so it's non-conforming. As to the distance, I would have to locate the lot line between the 2 properties and obtain a measurement.
Yeah, we should know that first. Also, how large is the front of this new garage size proposed?
Michelle, would you have that? Andy, sorry.
14 feet.
14 feet. So how wide is your driveway right now?
Probably only about 16 feet.
So you could still stay away from the lot line and offset your garage door and build this structure properly. Is that true?
No, it's not true, because if the setback was from the side lot 4 feet, she would have to come around the side of her back deck to enter her garage door.
Like, and what size of overhang on the garage roof are we gonna have?
12-inch.
12-inch, and the other garage is what looks like a 12-inch as well?
Yeah, I would say so.
So what would be the distance between the two garages and the two roofs?
Be 2 feet between the two roofs.
Yeah, I don't, okay, that's all the questions I have.
Okay, any other counselors with questions? Okay, we have a resolution, we have a recommendation from the chief building inspector and a resolution, so we will read that resolution and put it to a vote now.
Moved by Councillor Tate, seconded by Councillor Reese, resolved that application number A-4/21 submitted by Ms. Michelle Terrace for a minor variance to reduce the interior side yard setback minimum from 1.2 meters to 0.6 meters and the rear lot line from 1.2 meters to 0.6 meters to permit the property owner to construct a garage on the subject property located at 63 Meg High Road, be and is hereby granted conditional to the following. 1, that the approved variance applies only to the proposed garage as shown on the drawings attached to the application. 2, the accessory garage building shall not be used for human habitation or an occupation for gain. And 3, the owner applicant shall provide the building department with a copy of the decision of the Committee of Adjustment together with a copy of the approved drawings when they make application for a building permit.
There are no further questions. I will call the resolution.
I got one question, Mayor. One question, more question. The blacks in your email, didn't they state something about a survey? They wanted to get surveyed because of the COVID right now, they can't?
Yes, Mayor, to Councillor Tate, the Blacks stated in their email that they were unable to obtain the services of a surveyor, which could possibly be due to COVID. I would further add that we can only, as staff, estimate because we didn't locate the pegs and map out a survey on our own. But there is approximately 2 feet on each side. So the garages themselves would be approximately 4 feet apart. Kevin assisted the Blacks to locate some of the pins where they could estimate the survey lines on their own in the meantime. Thank you.
So do they have any further comment?
Not that we've received in our office that I'm aware of. None.
Okay. Just to be clear, I'm gonna vote against this. Thank you.
Okay, I just need to see the other hand, so I'm voting in favor. Bill's in favor, Mitch's in favor, Robert is in favor. So the motion is carried. Thank you. And thank you to Michelle and Tom for participating and answering these questions for us and clarifying things.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to take note that there is a 20-day appeal period before any construction can take place.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you aware of that, Michelle? I don't know if Kevin mentioned that.
No, I wasn't
council-
aware, but that's
Yeah,
good.
once
Good to-
council approves it, there's a
Mhm.
20-day waiting period in case any further appeals come in. And after that 20 days, then you're ready to, and Kevin will give you information about that, and then you're ready to go.
That's
Okay.
perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have a motion to adjourn.
Moved by Councillor Hatfield, resolved that the meeting be adjourned at 6:56 p.m.
All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. Moving directly to corporate planning meeting. I'll give the clerk a minute to change screens and we'll get to the next meeting. Okay, we call the meeting to order. 6:56. Any disclosure of pecuniary interests?
I have one, Mr. Mayor.
So go ahead, Councilor Reese.
I, Councilor Robert Rees, declare a potential deemed pecuniary interest against item 7.3 as I am an employee of J Provost Contracting.
So noted for the record. Thank you. Approval of the agenda.
Just one over.
I'll move by Councilor Chasson that we approve the agenda. All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. There are no delegations or presentation. Adoption of minutes, moved by Councilor Hatfield that we adopt the minutes from Tuesday, May 18th, 2021. All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. There's no business arising from previous minutes. Under new business 7.1, COVID-19 update. The clerk will give us that update.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So what I wanted to do is just bring council an update on the status of the COVID pandemic and the impacts on the municipality. So as we're all well aware that on April 3rd, the province of Ontario placed another emergency order or an emergency break and basically shut down the province of Ontario for a period of four weeks. And then they declared another emergency under the Emergency Management and Civil Protection Act. These measures were taken in response to the rapid increase of the COVID transmission throughout the province of Ontario. And this this restriction is, or the stay-at-home order is in place until June the 1st, and then at that time it will be lifted. So based on a news release that was issued by the province of Ontario today, the stay-at-home order expires on June the 2nd, with the restrictions no longer being in effect. So although the existing measures will remain in place province-wide, including restrictions on gatherings, businesses and activities, that was in place prior to the stay-at-home order. That includes limiting outdoor gatherings to individuals in their households and to outdoor gatherings of up to 5 people. There will still be a cap of 25% for essential retail on certain goods, and there's still a restriction for non-essential shopping. So again, it's still either curbside pickup or delivery. Short-term rentals and visiting of Ontario parks and campgrounds will be permitted for day use only, and there will be some limited exceptions. People in Ontario will be permitted to leave their homes to travel within the province to visit another residence. However, they're not permitted to host members from outside their household in these outdoor premises, except if that individual happens to live alone. So then on June 14th, we're in hopes that we'll move into the different stages or the provincial roadmap for the opening of the province. So under step 1, which is going to come into place on June 14th, that's the date that we anticipate, and is based on 60% of the province having received their vaccines. There will be an increase in outdoor gatherings permitted with limited numbers. Some of the non-essential businesses will reopen at 15% capacity. Day camps will be permitted, campsites, etc. will be open. So we'll be hopefully moving into the step 1 on June the 14th, and then 21 days later, we'll move into step 2, which we anticipate to be around July the 6th. And that's based on having at least 70% of the population with 1 dose of the vaccine and 20% fully vaccinated. And then 21 days later, we're hoping to move into step 3, which would be 70 to 80% of the province of Ontario having received 1 dose of the vaccine, as well as 25% being fully vaccinated. And we anticipate that date to be around July the 26th. In my report, you'll note that I did give you a little snippet of the vaccines to date for Algoma Public Health. And I'm pleased to report that as of today, the number of doses administered is 67,329. The number of people who have received their first dose only is 53,343. The number of people that are fully vaccinated is 6,993. And the total people that have received at least one vaccination is 60,336. The total population in the Algoma district that has received their at least one dose of the vaccination is at 52.7%. So we're well on our way. And residents in the Algoma region that have received 2 doses of the vaccine is at approximately 6.9%. And just for information, in Ontario, 57.439% have received at least one dose of the vaccine. The emergency control group meetings continue to occur, and we're holding these meetings on a bi-weekly basis to address just departmental responsibilities and bring the various departments up to date and organizations up to date of the activities within the municipality of Wawa. The municipality continues to share the messaging provided by Algoma Public Health so that we can provide this information to the public in a timely manner. A number of the news items and social media posts were distributed to the public regarding operational decisions and temporary changes in the municipal operations. Council meetings and committee meetings continue to be held through the Zoom video conferencing platform and are live streamed through the Wawa YouTube channel. The building department continues to process their building permits and answer inquiries from the public. And the residents are continue to submit and apply for their permits through the chief building official's office. We continue to keep our website up to date. Again, just informing the public of our municipal activities. And we encourage residents to remain diligent, keep masking, and limit close contact to persons within their immediate household. We're now, the CAO and I are now investigating the options that are available to us to return to in-person council meetings commencing on June the 15th. What we are proposing is that all members of council may resume to attend meetings in person, as well as the clerk and the CAO, sorry. And then we're hoping to have management staff return in the step 2 stage of the roadmap to Ontario. We are ordering some face shields for individuals who require the face shields if they wish to wear them in our council meetings, which means you'd be able to be within a closer vicinity of each other if you're wearing the shields. I provided a quick little snippet of the 3-step roadmap for the opening of the province of Ontario in the report for information. And at this time, I just recommend that council accept the staff report in response to just giving an update of the actions taken by the municipality in response to the COVID pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a very thorough report. Are there any questions from council regarding the report? So we're hoping that we'll all be here in the council chambers at our next meeting in 2 weeks. So certainly something to look forward to. Move to item 7.2, the policy manual compendium and plan review dates, completion dates. Do you have any comments, or are you waiting for questions from council regarding things?
If council has any suggestions, policies that they would like us to address immediately, if they could please let the CAO know so that we can move forward with addressing and updating those policies.
That makes sense. If there's something in particular a councillor wants to see happen, please let CEO know, and we will move that particular policy up on the compendium list. So that was for more information, and pass that request on to you. If there are no other comments, we will move to 7.3, Tulloch
I
tender
have a
evaluation.
question.
Yes, go ahead.
Mayor, can you give me a little bit of idea how they pick these policies out?
The policies develop over the years in which council operates, and they're updated and reviewed at a regular intervals. Sometimes policy, if we had a policy on hitching our horses on Broadway, it's long gone, but we try to update and stay in tune with what's happening and just make them current, as things change. Things we buy, things we use, and it influences how we use our own residents and our community. So that's basically how things develop. And sometimes, yourself as a counselor may find that there's a need for specific policy, and you can bring that forward as well.
Okay,
I don't know if
thanks,
that
Ron.
answers your question, but is that good, Councillor Hetfield?
Mr. Mayor, if I just may add to that as
Sure.
well. This list is also reviewed by the management team. And,
Kathy, I having a real hard time hearing you.
I'm too soft-spoken, I'm sorry. This listing is also reviewed by the management team, and it's, when we go through it, we determine which ones are classified as a high priority, and we endeavor to try to update those policies as necessary. And some of the lower priority ones, we'll deal with them when time permits.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So we'll move to 7.3, and we have someone from Tulloch who will be speaking. And Robert is signing off right now, and then we'll call you to get you back. Thank you. Is John McDonald going to?
Yes.
Okay, John, if you'd like to go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of council. Hopefully everybody can hear me.
Yes, you're coming through here just fine.
Great. Thank you very much. As you're all aware that we completed the tendering process for the Wawa School Zone resurfacing project. I believe a copy of my tender report has been included with your council package. I hope everybody has had a chance to review that. There's really not much more I can say that isn't outlined within it. It did come in over budget for a number of factors, which I've attempted to succinctly prepare and advise. That's the unfortunate news. The fortunate news is we've had a chance to do a little bit more homework here in the background since the provision of that tender report. And we are formulating a scope reduction plan that to bring it to within the funding limit and the eligible costs, which I would pleasantly surprised that it does not involve too much pain and too much cut in scope. We do have some more work to do before between myself and Mr. Beach to sit down and just kind of finalize our plans before we speak with the low bidder, at which time we will undertake a reduction in units, the quantity of certain items, in order to bring it within the funding limits of the eligible 93% funding. And the caveat in that is there is provisions in the general conditions contract, in which is standard for all Ontario standard provincial specifications, that if there is a greater than 15% increase or decrease in units quantities, there is a provisions that the unit prices could be adjusted somewhat. So for that reason, there are a few items that would be impacted as such, and we would have to sit down with the low bidder in that situation and ensure that they'll hold their price per se, or near to. Other than that, I'm here to answer any questions council may have, and
Councillor Hatfield, go ahead if you have a question.
John, the low bidder left $500,000 on the table. How did that work out?
That was primarily in the cost of the asphalt. The low bidder does have a local batch plant for that. To my understanding, the nearest batch plant that the second lowest tender would have would be up in the White River area. So that trucking alone would greatly impact that. The unit cost increase for their asphalt wasn't overly significant, but due to the tonnage on the job, it did add up fairly quick.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other
Councillor-
questions? Yes.
Councillor Tate here.
Go
Where
ahead,
do I
Councillor
start?
Tate.
Where do I start? I got about 4 pages here. I just see, I know it's 30% above the pre-tender estimate. And have we secured the sewer pipe, or is that gonna be an issue? I guess you haven't signed the contract yet, eh?
Correct. That's
So-
correct, Councillor Tate.
Yeah.
So until we actually procure or sign the contract, the contractor will not procure the pipe.
Yeah.
That being said, we've had some preliminary discussions with the low bidder. Due to the nature, the timeline of the project is 2 years. There was initial discussions of delaying the underground work on Boyer, Arnott, the lower end of Arnott, until 2022. And having the contractor responsible for the maintenance through this winter and ensuring that pipe is working in short order.
And pavement, what's the main commodity of pavement besides tar and aggregate?
Those are the only two, other than the labor and fuel to place it and the cost of machinery to put it down.
That's quite a 21% increase. That's quite a bit.
That's just the bitumen alone. I don't have cost increases for the production of gravel.
Yeah. And also the low bidder is talking about moving their concrete batch plant to Duberville for the, next 2 years probably?
That is that is our understanding, yes, and through additional work on ours through the mine it's kind of the way the cookies crumble. Being the north, it sounds like we're maybe the testing of that concrete of that company. So that's
Okay.
kind of how we found out about it after the fact, is that request for pricing came from the mine.
Okay, because that's a back to Wawa, that's a 50+ travel, especially for a cement.
Yeah, the primary problem, you can truck the concrete that far, if there's use of additives and stuff to delay the set. But the primary problem there is the actual production and storage of the aggregate for use in that concrete. The aggregate and the mixed design that they'd be using, like the structural type stuff or whatever it is up there in the mine, it would not be the same type of aggregate gradation, et cetera, that would be used in curb and sidewalk mix.
Right, you're
So
right.
because that concrete batch plant is actually sitting on somebody else's property, they're not going to want to stockpile aggregate.
Yeah, I don't want to take the aggregate from Wawa to Duberville to mix the concrete
And then bring it back.
and then bring it back. Yes.
Yeah.
And also one comment I seen that you kind of contradicted yourself through the report is, based on your opinion, Provo had sufficient experience, equipment, manpower to complete the project as attached in a time frame, and then later on in the report you said that there's short manpower, equipment, and the opposite of this. It's just kind of weird.
That's a fair point. I should have included the provision of this. They're subcontractors as well.
Okay,
They subcontracted out their concrete work.
right.
To another company, which is common. And we suspect that may be because they are committed elsewhere.
Okay, and then I went through the recommendations. The reduction of scope work primarily is going to be concrete curbs and sidewalks. There is some problematic driveways on Arnott. I went and drove this whole area for about an hour yesterday, just taking my time. And the sidewalks are on the, I guess, with the east side of Arnott, right? And the driveways. How would you propose to fix those driveways? Though they're fairly high compared to the sidewalk and to the street. So that area, we're gonna have to replace probably sidewalks and curbs. What do you think?
Correct. So if we were to take out all the sidewalk replacement and all the curb replacement that are currently in the job, we would be significantly below your funding limit. So we're
We're
not,
gonna have allocation, then we will be able to allocate certain areas to get repaired, right?
correct.
And do we have a number on what we can do?
Yes,
Like, okay,
yes. And that, generally the limit which we were going for, which the funding limit is approximately $4.5 million, of which 93% is reimbursable. By time you also back out engineering fees, there's some sundry expenses for Algoma Power to move some guy wires, etc. So by time we backed out those estimates, we're in around the $4 million mark. There's locate fees and there's various other signage fees and all these good things that are also eligible fences. So we estimated about a $4 million cap before taxes. That would be our maximized funding limit for our contract with Provo.
and then what allocation and funds will we direct towards curbs and sidewalks? Like what portion of that 4 million?
So long story short, and I'll just kind of, sorry, I'll
Just
reference
bulk.
my,
just
going to reference my spreadsheet here real quick.
I'm just trying to see what kind of buck we can get for a buck.
If we were to back out all the curb and sidewalk replacement, we could sign a contract tomorrow for 2.3 million. So we would still have about 1.7 million in curb and sidewalk that we could do.
So could we now contract out or put that out to a separate tender, or it has to go in one?
Well, there's a number of red flags that are kind of, I had never thought of that, but there are a number of red flags primarily like popping up in my head right now. And the first would be Ministry of Labor, the time and space. 2 contractors on one site, you're not allowed to do that.
Yes, but you could work in areas.
Right.
Alternate areas.
Yeah, we would have to phase the project.
But it is doable, right?
It is doable. I would throw caution. We do have to work within somewhat of the tendered amount. To pull something out of a tender and re-tender it to a second contractor, that may be worth a discussion with the municipalities council.
Can you, just a question, can you grind and pave and then after cut beside the pavement and do your curves and sidewalks?
Yes, not recommended though,
In the
because then you
second
have
pave?
a second cold joint in your asphalt about a foot out from your curb.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, just going away from that, because I looked at a lot of the, like Boyer, the curbs and the sidewalks were good. Churchill is some okay, but the bottom of the hill, there's some bad spots, real low areas there. I think around the 72 Churchill or the house 72 Churchill right there is a bad spot. Park Hill, the curbs are good. Darwin, I think they're good. And then Arnott, again, we talked about the east side, the whole east side. So that would have to be done, all of that, curbs and sidewalks.
if I could throw an observation in there, is the problem areas that you noted with the curves is actually an extension, is what we're calling areas of like frost boils, structural failure. And we've actually identified those areas for essentially sub-X, putting in geotextile, new granular base, and frost tapers to fix the structure problems in those areas. So those curb replacements in those areas we're going to have to stay in regardless.
Yeah,
we want to
because
address those structure problems.
I think you got lots of clay in those areas.
Clay or something has happened. You've got some migration in that area, maybe a thin subgrade. The frost taper and the full depth X in those areas will address those.
Okay, and then Ross Street, I'm okay with. I went down Ross Street. I mean that street's in good shape, and that's slow moving traffic. That's not a big high traffic area. I don't think that's a real big issue to cut that out.
I'm quite pleased that you said that. I didn't want to spring this on municipal staff during this meeting, but that may be a recommendation that I spoke to Mr. Beach about tomorrow. That's something that we've been looking at since the publication of a report. Is we may be able to get to parity where we want to be with the elimination of Ross Street and the work on Ross Street.
Yeah. And Heather, I don't know if you can you move away from the school zone to do any repairs in this scope of this contract, or do we have to stay within a certain boundary? I'm just thinking of grinding and paving. We could flip a little bit of concrete and curbs for a little more grinding in areas and repaving.
I'm sorry, Councillor, was your question directed to me?
Yes, sorry, yes, yeah.
Oh, I'm looking at Schedule C of the funding agreement here in front of me, and it's limited to which roads are eligible.
Okay, good, okay. Okay, I'd like to, I know you guys need to get this done. I'd like to see this, basically a real simple sheet with the amount of dollars at the top and dollars allocated down to certain items, and see where we come out at the bottom, just a one pager.
That is something that we can do after. We have our prices here from the contractor. We're going through obviously what can be cut. We're going to allocate what we can to provisional items to make sure we maximize that funding amount. And then after that, absolutely, I think that is something Mr. Beach already asked for. And I think Kathy as well has indicated that she'd like to see that. And we have that anyway with our scheduled unit prices.
Yeah, just be a short.
Once we finalize quantities and scope and make sure that we're there and the contract, that's all comes back.
And that would also would give you the go ahead faster and a simpler explanation.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Tate. The number that's listed in the resolution for that's taken into consideration that there will be some cost cuts to get us close or right at the funding that we've received and what we're prepared to contribute.
Correct, Mayor, and with John from TELUC providing that number to the clerk, that I believe is the upset limit for the contract. We would like council to consider a motion tonight to award the contract to Provo, and the list that Councillor Tate has requested can be provided as a bylaw would be required to enter into an agreement with Provo should council agree with the recommendation of the engineer that would be forwarded at the next council meeting. So the amount could be treated in the motion tonight as already the amount cut back and would be the contract entered into with Provo if council accepts our recommendation.
So for your information, that number that will come later in the meeting is $55,487.66, taxes excluded. So then we will work on getting to that number for the project. And that list, Councillor Tate wishes to see will be provided, and when everything's added up, we're hoping to get to that particular number. So that'll come up later in our meeting.
I have one more question
Sorry,
there.
later in the regular meeting. Yes, go ahead.
John, I'm not saying I understand everything you're talking about, but I have really conflicting thoughts here. Is the contractor with the low bid going to be able to do everything? Like they're in Duberville and who are they contracting the concrete out to? We don't have another concrete plant here. So I'm just a little bit mixed up, John.
The contractor is listed as subcontractor for the concrete work, and they are an out-of-town company that would be required to come into town to complete the work.
And none of this, there doesn't seem to be any other problems?
I'm sorry, Councillor, I don't follow you.
I'm just really confused, John. I didn't get good feelings of everything that should be in place. You're satisfied with the way everything is in place?
If it would have came in, the pricing would have came in closer to our estimates. And granted, we've been struggling immensely this year and the latter third of last year with our cost estimates. If it would have came in closer, and we attempted to estimate based on the wild situations that's been kind of going on everywhere, I'd have no problem saying this is no brainer. Let's go, let's get it done. Let's sign this. Let's get on with it. Nice weather's on us. The only concerns that I have is the pricing, and through our research since it's closed, I'm comfortable with what we've determined the causes are. It's never, I'm not happy about it, but I'm happy we determined, or think we determined, why.
Okay, I just never worked on a contract where things went right. The cost was always up. So I worry that it's close now. What's it going to be like in another year?
So we
Just
are
thought.
we are a unit price contract, and we work on estimated quantities.
Okay,
So we go through the quantities. So if they put in 6 meters of curb, they get paid for 6 meters of curb. If they put in 2 meters of curb, they get paid 2 meters for curb.
okay,
So
okay,
we do have all those estimated quantities, and the prices and the unit prices is binding for 2 years.
okay,
Okay.
okay,
There
thanks,
is
John.
one provision in the contract, and it's in all contract, is that there is a asphalt bitumen price index adjustment clause in there, and that was put in, geez, it's probably before my time. And there is white hair in the chin, so I'm not that young. To account for fluctuating oil prices and the fluctuating bitumen prices.
Yeah,
So there's a certain period of time where you actually look at that price index, and I referenced that in my report, that they're eligible, and so is the town. If the price of oil goes down, the town gets a credit. On the flip side, if it goes up, then there's a formula that we pay extra to the contractor for the price of oil increasing.
okay. Thanks, John.
Thank you. If there are no further questions, we'll move down to the adjournment. Our next meeting is Tuesday, June 15th, and if I could have Councillor Tate move to adjourn. All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. We'll have We're going to give Councillor Reese a call to get him back in.
Oh, I don't know if I have it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council.
Thank you, John. Appreciate everything, and we'll be hearing from you soon.
Work home. It's okay. Yes, please join the meeting. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Just waiting for Councillor Reese to rejoin us. Oh, there he is. Welcome back, Robert. I'll call the meeting to order at 7:33. All members of council are present. Clerk will list staff and guests. Disclosure of pecuniary interests. Yes,
I have-
Councillor Reese. Go ahead, please.
I, Councillor Reese, declare a potential deemed pecuniary interest against item 11.1, as I am an employee of J. Provost Contracting.
Thank you. So noted for the meeting. Approval of the agenda. We have a resolution.
Moved by Councillor Chason, seconded by Councillor Reese. Resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting of council scheduled for Tuesday, June 1st, 2021 be approved as amended.
All in favor? Carried. Thank you. No delegations or presentations. Please note the announcements in the here. Adoption of minutes. We have a resolution.
Moved by Councillor Hatfield, seconded by Councillor Tate. Resolved that the following minutes of the meeting of council be adopted as presented. Minutes of a regular meeting of council held on Tuesday, May 18, 2021, as contained on pages 1 to 7, inclusive of the minute book.
All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Just before we move on, just go back to announcement. I did have one I wanted to make. I wanted to congratulate the Wawa Rotary Club on their 60th anniversary, and to certainly thank them for the many, many years of service to our community. We really appreciate all that they do for the residents of Wawa and area. So shout out to Rotary Club. Thank you. So moving to the consent agenda, we have a resolution.
Moved by Councillor Reese, seconded by Councillor Chason. Resolved that the items listed under consent agenda, items 8.2 to 8.4, be approved as recommended.
All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. No staff reports, no business or except recommendation award tender servicing project. We have a resolution.
Sorry, I have to leave again for this, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, sorry. Yes, we'll let you out and then we'll get you right back in.
Okay.
Okay, we can proceed.
Moved by Councillor Tate, seconded by Councillor Chason. Whereas the municipality of Wawa issued notice to bidders for the tender for the Wawa School Zone Resurfacing Project, contract number 2013-25, which is described in the plan specification as prepared by Telek Engineering. And whereas 2 tenders were received by the municipality for providing the specified construction with the required bid bond accompanying each proposal. And whereas the tender from J. Provo Contracting Limited was the best and lowest price for for the designated public improvement project. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Wawa does hereby authorize Telek Engineering to remove portions of the project scope to lower the cost for the subject tender. Such project items to be removed may include resurfacing of specified streets and curbs and gutters as determined and approved by the Director of Infrastructure Services and the CAO Treasurer. 2, that the tender received from J. Provo Contracting Limited is hereby accepted for the Wawa School Zone resurfacing project as described in the plans and specifications as previously approved by council for an upset limit of $4,055,487.66, taxes excluded. And 3, that the clerk be directed to prepare a bylaw to enter to a contract agreement with J. Provo Contracting Limited for the next regular meeting scheduled for Tuesday, June 15, 2021.
And I'm assuming that by the time that comes to council, we'll have that list of where those reductions are. So we'll see that that figure is at or below the offset limit. Are there any other questions before I call this vote? Seeing none, all in favor? It's carried, thank you.
That's why I opened.
Nothing under notice of bylaw, notice of motion, bylaws.
Mr. Mayor, can we just wait for Councillor Reese to
Oh,
return?
sorry. We had Councillor Reese back.
Hi, Robert. Please join us again. Okay, bye-bye.
Mr. Mayor, please.
Welcome back, Robert. We'll move to item 13, bylaws.
Moved by Councillor Reese, seconded by Councillor Hatfield, resolved that the following bylaws be introduced and read a first, second, and third time and finally passed, and that the mayor and clerk do sign and seal the same. Any rule of this council to contrary notwithstanding, bylaw number 3398-21 to confirm the proceedings of council held on the first day of June 2021, bylaw number 3399-21 to amend bylaw number 2821-15 as amended, the zoning bylaw for the municipality of Wawa with respect to a temporary camp accommodations on land described as mining claim MC SSM 3455 parcel 5136 AWS and SSM 59662 parcel 1148 Mishpacotton in the geographic township of McMurray in the municipality of Wawa in the district of Algoma, bylaw number 3400-21 to enter into an agreement with Nick Alexopoulos respecting the site plan control area for a temporary placement of an accessory structures being sea containers on property located at 67 McKinley Avenue, bylaw number 3401-21 to regulate, govern, and restrict overnight camping within the municipality of Wawa, bylaw number 3402-21 to establish schedules for retention periods for documents and records to be kept by the corporation of the municipality of Wawa, bylaw number 3403-21 to adopt the municipality of Wawa policy number AD006, records management.
Thank you. Are there any particular questions on any of the bylaws? Seeing none, I'll call a question. All in favor? Is carried. Thank you. We're going to move into closed session. Do we have a resolution?
Moved by Councillor Tate, seconded by Councillor Chason, resolved that this committee proceed in camera at 7:40 p.m. in order to address the following matters pertaining to a personal item. It's a one item regarding a sanitary line sewer repair invoice, personal matters about an identifiable individual, and legal issue. There's 4 items: offers to purchase property, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board.
All in favor? All in favor? I don't see any hands going up. Anybody hear me?
Uh-oh.
Are we in favor of going
there's
to in
Mitch.
camera? I got Mitch. Need one more. Bill?
I don't know if people are frozen.
Okay, I see Robert. Okay, we're it's carried, so
slower.
we're going to in camera, and we'll double check to make sure we can hear everybody. As we
It's
move
like
forward.
everybody's frozen.
Fast connection. to go offline.
Good?
So Bill's just no video, he's on. So there's no business arising from the closed session. Our next meeting, and we'll be in person, which is great. We'll be on Tuesday, June 15th. Looking forward to that, seeing everybody at council chambers again. And we have a motion to adjourn.
Moved by Councillor Hatfield, resolved that the meeting close at 8:20 PM.
All in favor?
I think everybody's frozen.
Everybody's frozen? Okay, I got one. I need one more hand. All in favor, we close? I'll make your hand is up. All I
Oh,
can
there's
say,
Bill.
there's three. Okay, we are closed. Thank you very much.
Good meeting. Good night, everybody.
Good night.